Hi, my name is Oscar Reyes, and I'm making this video on the reasons why I returned to the Catholic Church, or just announcing that why I returned to the Catholic Church. Now, when I grew up, I was a cradle Catholic. My parents, they claim to be Catholic. They both would say that they're Catholic. They would say things like, well, you're not Christian, you're Catholic. They will also say how churches are all corrupted, even the Catholic Church, and the deeper you go into Catholicism, the more culty you would become. That's with any church. And I was baptized, confirmed in the Catholic Church. The only times I went to church was whenever I was getting baptized or trying to get baptized. I would show up for my classes, and once the session was over in about a year, we stopped going. We stopped going to church. We didn't go on Sundays. We barely had anything to do with God. The only time we would invoke God or even talk about God was if me or my siblings were doing something wrong, and my mom and dad would just use God as a reference point, as, obey your mom and dad. God says to obey your mom and dad. But my parents never actually showed a Christian life. I grew up with this mindset of being kind of like a Protestant. As long as you have a mental idea of Jesus Christ and God, and you acknowledged him, and you had your own personal relationship apart from the church, you're fine, you're good. You have a relationship with God, and that's as far as it needs to go. Growing up, though, it led me to a lot of confusion, because when Protestants would attack the Catholic Church and made certain claims that I couldn't defend against because I wasn't well catechized, it made it seem as if the Catholic Church was the false church, or there may be issues with the Catholic Church that may have not been addressed. It was from my own lack of knowledge and my ignorance. I was hit with these questions, and I didn't really have guidance at all. And since I couldn't travel to the church, didn't have a car vehicle, I couldn't get any kind of guidance or spiritual mentorship, ever. And most of the videos I would look up online if I had a question about something in particular was always made probably by Protestants. And it never popped into my mind to look at Catholic videos. I figured that all Christians were universally the same. But as I became an adult, I was very easily persuaded and led astray by Protestants that would falsely or misunderstand the Catholic Church. I wasn't well catechized, and at the time I was trying to get my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, out of the Jehovah's Witness cult. I was appealing to any kind of person or anybody that may have had the truth of Jesus Christ, God. And Protestants were able to capitalize on that. And I even had one Protestant in particular that would mentor me and train me, named Jeremy Jocelyn. He taught Sola Scriptura, and I kind of adopted that as well. For a brief period of time, I was kind of against the idea of the Catholic Church. The video I'm about to show you is the pastor, Jeremy Jocelyn. He's a part of the Church of Christ. It's a non-denominational denomination. It's still a denomination, even being non-denominational. What he's about to say is, this is what made me look into Catholicism more, is that it's very dangerous for a person or anyone to just pick up the Bible and interpret it and to make their own denomination, because he would tell me many times privately, and he even affirms this right here in this clip that I'm about to show you, that if you're not part of his church, or if you're not baptized in this church, you're not obeying the gospel, and you won't be saved, and you'll be lost. He says that I'll be lost if I were to die at that point in time in life. One of the many things that made me think on, what authority does your church have to say that or teach that? Where was your church historically speaking? And the fact that he said this, by the way, because 2 weeks prior, or during the time prior, I was trying to get my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, like I've stated, out of the Jehovah's Witness cult. He ended up saying what I'm about to show you, that I'm not obeying the gospel, and that I would be lost. I would go to hell. I wouldn't be saved.
I know someone personally who will not obey the gospel because he's waiting on his girlfriend to come out of a denomination. What if she never does? How sad is it going to be if both of them end up lost when one of them could be saved?
But I ended up revisiting the Catholic Church and studying it more. One of the main people that brought me back to the Catholic Church and really looking into what the Catholic Church teaches was a man named Sam Shimon. the way he debated and defended the faith, and it left me with a lot of questions as if there was Christians in the first century, what did they look like? What did worship actually look like if I was born in a different time and era of Christianity? And it struck my foundation on maybe I should reconsider on the idea of Protestantism and learn my roots, learn the roots of the Catholic Church, the very church that was established 2,000 years ago, and the teachings that were given by Jesus Christ to them, and what the Christians kind of came to conclusion. And the idea of apostolic succession, the idea that the doctrines and the church and the priests that were ordained from generation to generation, that everything could be traced back. These are some of the things why I returned to the Catholic Church, was because of these questions and logical answers that ought to be addressed. If there was a church in the first century, what was it called? What did it look like? What did the early Christians believe? Are there any documentations of what the Christians believe? And if it's so, what do they look like? I find it hard to believe that we have documentation and historical evidence of a bunch of ancient civilizations, but not of Christianity as a whole, or early first century Christians, or the first 1,000 years of Christianity. These are the main questions that led me back to the Catholic Church, and there's so much more, including scripture, on how the Catholic Church doesn't kick out scripture, but uses it in harmony with tradition, magisterium, all working united together. And now I'm making it public that I am a proud Catholic Christian, and I want people to know my story, and I would love to get into it more. I'm not going to be able to explain my whole story or everything that I've been through or what convinced me to come to the Catholic Church. But I give you the main reasons. Some of the final things I want to say before I end the video is that I'm happy being Catholic. I'm a proud Catholic Christian. I want to emphasize Catholic Christian because a lot of the things people would say about Catholics that I would hear is that Catholics are not Christian. And even my mom and dad, raising me up for years and years, would even tell me, we're not Christian, we're Catholic. I'm planning to make more videos on this channel and more about Christianity as a whole and religion, and do many more things going forward with this new year. Happy New Year, by the way, everyone. And I look forward to the future, what we have in store, and what we might be doing as well. Anyway, so thank you for being able to listen. Thank you for watching the video if you made it this far. But you guys have a beautiful day. Enjoy your guys' year. Stay safe. And I'll see you guys in the next video we do around here.